welcome to the 2020 update on the Hobao Hyper ST. So the last one of these I did was in 2019, and you can probably tell it looks quite a bit different to the last update I did. So let's get right into the update. So this is for the start of 2020. It's actually about a month into 2020 now, but this is when I've had time to do it. So first of all, we've got the new body shell, which you might have seen in previous videos. I still haven't managed to run it with the new shell yet, because it's needed quite a lot of new parts for this year. So I'm just going to go through them now. So we've got the black wing on now instead of the yellow one, which I had in the last video. Then I'll take the shell off and show you some of the other parts which I've had to change or swap out for 2020. So just quickly before we go into the body shell, I want to give you a proper look at the paint job in the light. So we have got metallic orange paint. I don't know if you can see the metallic flake in there. This is a Tamiya paint. There's the front of the shell. Got a Hobao sticker on this side, and then the back of the truck is silver. I've stuck the rear tail lights on, and I did that bit there in orange and put the Hyper ST sticker on. You can see it's got a Hobby Wing sticker in the back window. Didn't go too overkill with the stickers really, just a Hobao one on each side. The fuel filler cap there, that's the exhaust side. Unfortunately that was cut out from the factory, but the engine cut out, which is normally there, hasn't been cut out. It's also backed with both silver and black, and it's got shoe glue and drywall tape along the inside around the areas that wore out on my other one, especially at the back here. Reinforce these bits which go on the body post, and same at the front. Obviously I left the windows clear, and these Hyper ST shells have these nice durable bits of plastic on them to keep them nice and rigid and strong. So yeah, that's a quick look at the shell. I really like this orange paint, looks great with the silver. So let's move on to the truck itself now. So in the truck, on the inside, not really much has changed since last time. So the main difference you'll notice straight away is really the servo here is now not in the Team Associated box. It is literally just bolted onto the chassis. So there's 50mm bolts coming up from underneath the chassis where the servo normally mounts, and then it's just bolted onto the case. The servo is sitting on the chassis, so I do need to make a proper servo mount for that. Also I've got this little plate here for the ESC, or not the ESC, the receiver, sorry. And unfortunately I don't have a receiver at the moment, because I swapped over to a Fly Sky GT5 earlier this year, so I'm upgrading all my cars to have GT5s receivers, and I've sold all my RTR receivers. So in this one I had a Spectrum DX2E with a SR410 receiver. Now the front shock tower here is new. I've swapped that over. I've gone back to the old stock front bumper, because the T-bone one, which I have just here, if I don't knock the tripod over, unfortunately it keeps ripping out through these holes, especially on wet and muddy grass. It tends to dig into the ground, and because it's not bent up at a very sharp angle, even if you do a bit of a tiny bit of a nose landing, it does just dig into the ground and rip itself off normally. So unfortunately I've had to retire that and go back to the stock bumper. I'm sure it saved the front of the truck quite a few times. We're still running the same 1700 kV Surpass Hobby motor with the Hyper VS motor mount. Now we've got cap head screws on there so they don't strip anymore. Also got cap head screws on top of the centre diff so they don't strip out. You can get them quite a bit tighter than the button head screws. Still using the air racing heatsink, which the original fans are still working on. They're quite noisy, but who cares when you're running an RC car? It's not exactly a nitro, is it? We've got the CNC braces from the Pro. Got a brand new rear shock tower. I'll just move the camera a little bit so you can see there. So rear shock tower is brand new, rear wing mount is pretty much brand new, and the rear wing, as you saw in the last video, I've gone with a Hyper 7 wing this time, so it's a bit more rounded rather than the pointy one. And we've still got the T-bone bumper on the rear end here. So that's just a smaller or a larger rear bumper, but smaller than the one that was on the front, obviously. Centre diff, we're still running 500,000 weight. So yeah, we're still running the Max 6 ESC. Unfortunately, I did break the battery tray earlier this year and snapped one of the straps, so we've got an armour strap. And unfortunately, there's no place to put the switch on this battery tray because the guy who I bought the battery tray off cut it out. This is a Lossy 8T battery tray, and they basically normally have a switch mount here, but the guy who I bought it off cut it out, unfortunately, so that's not there. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as it was before. As you've seen on previous videos, I've had to replace the front left, which is that side steering knuckle, twice, because of the thread stripping out on the first one and then the bearing not coming out on the second one. So that's a bit of a bummer. So the only thing left to do on this, I've got a receiver ordered, so I'm just waiting for that to come and then maybe make a proper servo mount, and really it's ready to roll. So that's it for the Hyper ST update of 2020. See you in the next one.